Welcome to the Black Duck Revival Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Wilkins. I'm excited to have you join me as I speak with a fascinating collection of folks, all of whom have in common that they've made a way for themselves by finding an intersection between thoughtful consideration and the tactile work of getting their hands dirty. This is an examination of intention, capability, and craft. It's where philosophy meets the blue-collar work ethic and where I find real value. Hey, and welcome back to the Black Duck Revival Podcast. This week is an unusual episode because depending on what podcast you listen to, you might have already heard this one on another forum. That would be the Woodside podcast hosted by Ben O'Brien of Bozeman, Montana. A couple weeks ago, I can't remember exactly when, Ben came down to Brinkley, Arkansas, and we stayed at the bungalow and hunted with my buddies Jordan and Britt. Jordan's got a really cool family farm like 3 miles away from the lodge, and we've been hanging out and hunting together a little bit for the last couple of years, and we had initially planned to hunt with Jesse Griffiths from the New School of Traditional Cookery and his buddy Hunt, but that couldn't happen. Jesse got sick or something happened. He just couldn't come up. So I called Ben O'Brien on a Wednesday, and he was here a day and a half later. And man, we hung out. We shot some ducks. We shot some specks. We cooked a bunch, talked a whole bunch, cleaned a bunch of birds. Man, it was a super, super fun hang. This is a guy that I'd met a couple times before, just like, in passing. We were aware of each other. Obviously I'd known about him from his time in Meat Eater and the Hunting Collective podcast, and this new podcast he has called Woodside. And I was like especially interested in that last spring when I was driving around chasing turkeys, and I was listening to a bunch of Ben's stuff. Yeah, dude, look, if you like long-winded people talking about the whys of hunting and cooking and all of that stuff, you're going to love it. This is a podcast for you. If you just want to hear hunting stories, this is going to be insufferable. I mean, dude, I think me and Ben are probably going to end up doing some cool stuff together, here in the coming years. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a relationship of just enough, because me and this dude can both flap gums for a long, long time. So, and I mean that in like the best possible way. Like, I had a great conversation with this guy, recorded. We talked tons, like the whole time he was here, when we were hunting, cooking and eating meals, hanging outside and plucking birds. I like so much about this guy, and I hope to get to be able to hunt with him more and hang out with him more and talk about this kind of stuff, this like heady, big, important stuff around something that's really big and important to me, which is hunting, and the way I'm raising my children in that lifestyle, and being part of a family and all that stuff. So what we did was we recorded this podcast, and then we do what I guess is called a swapcast. That's an idea that Ben introduced me to. It just means that two people that each have independent podcasts record a podcast and release that recording separately on their own platforms. So that's what we've done. Ben released his version of the episode. I think it'll end up being a couple weeks before this one. But if you don't listen to Woodside, I would encourage you to. But first, listen to this podcast and enjoy this conversation with my new friend, Ben O'Brien. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Black Duck Revival Podcast. This week I find myself back in Brinkley, Arkansas, but this time over in the Black Duck Bungalow, which has actually been a real treat. This building's kind of turned into like my own little personal guide shack cabin, and so I've got some folks that have, some guys from Georgia that have rented out the old church for the month of January for a lease they have down the road. So I'm just kind of hanging out in the bungalow, and This week on the podcast and this weekend for some hunting, I'm joined by one Ben O'Brien of the Woodside podcast and outdoor industry member extraordinaire. So, Ben, first of all, thank you very much for taking the time to be on the podcast.
It's good to be here. It's nice. You have a comfortable couch here in
Dude,
the bungalow.
You want to know the story on this couch, man?
Please do.
So this is a wonderful couch, and it's like leather and very plush and comfortable. And a few years ago, there was I feel bad because I laughed. It's just kind of weird and awkward. There were some people that were murdered in Little Rock.
Whoa.
And I attended the estate sale.
Okay, I didn't know where you were going with that.
Yeah, they were murdered in their house, and I attended the estate sale, and no one had bought this couch, I think, because it was so like big and hard to move around.
Yep.
And so I went back like an hour before they closed and got them down on the price, and with a tray, took a trail over there and got this thing. And
wow.
Yeah, so man, it's
a nice couch.
This has been witness to sad things.
Some sad things. Well, it's in a good home now. It's in a good place.
But yeah, so like the way this went down is our mutual friend Jesse Griffiths and his buddy Hunt, they were supposed to come up and hunt this weekend. Jesse and me had been planning it. Shit, man, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months, something like that.
He told me about it. He didn't tell me he was coming with you, but he told me he was going. He's never killed a greenhead. He's going to Arkansas, and I was there last year, and we started talking about it. He never mentioned that he was coming with you. And I was excited for his first duck hunt, so I didn't realize. Then I realized when you called and said he's not coming, that he's not going to get a chance for his first greenhead.
Well, yeah, he's killed ducks before and stuff, but that's wild that he's never killed a Drake mallard. Because like where I'm at, that's the thing that you shoot. You know?
Yeah,
like
pinnacle.
Everything else is like kind of second best. That's kind of how it's publicly considered. But like with that mixed bag we had, dude, like I'm most stoked about that little teal.
That teal. Well, I'll post a picture, or you should post. We should show people the pristine nature of that teal.
Just it plucked beautifully. It was so fat and plump.
The skin is undamaged. Like there's no BB that entered the breast or any part of the bird. It looked like it was just a headshot that I could tell. But I don't know, just from what you think of a beautifully plucked wild duck, it is. I feel like it is the top.
Dude, yeah, I'm into it. And you saw the range, like they can get kind of messy sometimes.
Yeah.
Everything about that. And that was like I told you, that's the biggest green wing teal I'd ever seen. Yeah. And like the other guys we were hunting with, Jordan and Britt, they both independently they just came up on it like, dude, that's a huge green wing teal. When I shot it, it was buzzing around in that like bumblebee pack that teal buzz around in, and I shot that one, and it was on the water, and I had to like water swat it again because it was like it just wasn't completely gone.
Yeah.
And I was just far enough away from it. Like I shot it, I was like, oh, it's a teal, and then I saw the size of it, and I was like, what is that, a gadwall? What's going on here? And then I got up on it, I was like, dude, that's a huge, big old donkey, as they say in a popular. The parlance of our times.
Yeah, I got to watch you do it from we had absconded to the other side of the flooded field to try to see if we could cut off some birds, and I got to watch you.
Watch me miss some birds too.
Watch you miss a few. Watch you hit a few. It's a symphony,
dude. That was fun. That hunt was like we talked about. Like with people get so consumed with limits. And like in stacking up these birds when they're duck hunting, but man, even that what do we kill? We got a wood duck, we got a green winged teal, we got a couple of specks.
That was it, I think.
Yeah,
I think 4.
Yeah. Which man, that's not the greatest. That's not a 4-man limit, but dude, there was birds all day long, just thousands and thousands of them, and they just kept wanting to land like 100 yards off. That's the problem with hunting a pit in big water is that they can go anywhere they want to, and they wanted 100 yards away from us.
Yeah, I'm no veteran waterfowler, but I've done it enough to know that when I show up, that generally is what happens.
No, man, dude, because you've alluded to this thought this weekend, but like, look, what it really is the waterfowling that people consume on social media is malarkey. The truth of it is that, and we discussed this yesterday, a season of waterfowl should be measured in the cumulative nature of it. It's like what you see on Instagram is okay. What you see on Instagram from a reputable source, because there is this thing where people save up greenheads all season long in the freezer, and then
they do not.
Yeah,
people do that.
Make a log pick.
Come on, people.
Absolutely. But when you see someone, you'll see a post, man. Oh, they did it right today, and it's just intimidating collection of birds, right? But they're not telling you, dude, that they had they hunted 5 days, and they had one unbelievable hunt, and they had 2 hunts that were, the higher side of mediocre, and they just had two hunts where nothing went right.
And I would say this about that, because we talked about that a little bit both days we were out. I feel like I'm a passive waterfowl hunter, not in the act of actually being out there, but in terms of like my interest for it. Sure. I have other pursuits within hunting that I am very passionate about, and I see them as kind of a craft that I'm honing over time. I think a lot about how to call turkeys and exactly how turkeys move through a landscape and the natural history of turkeys, and same with elk and some other things. But I'm fairly passive and I'm kind of a tourist when it comes to waterfowl hunting in a lot of ways. So because I'm a tourist, I enjoy the experience so as much as anything. Being out there, dogs splashing through water, kind of like a little kid out there just having an adventure every morning you go waterfowl hunt. It's just a dynamic experience. People in the blind laughing, eating breakfast. Like it just has this. As someone who doesn't think of it as a craft, I'm not out there worried about, is this decoy spread going to work? Are my calls tight today?
Yeah.
I'm usually riding along with someone like you who is a craftsman, who is thinking about those things, which inherently I think come with a little bit of pressure to perform.
Yeah, man. It's a few years ago when I started taking people out, and they were giving me money, dude. Man, I'm talking about sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
But now, to your point, the entirety of the experience is what I'm offering to people, right? And not just the hunting part, but the processing and the cooking and the conversation and the camaraderie and sleeping in a place that I built and designed and all that shit, right? So that's the stuff I can control. The other stuff, I mean, this is why people that duck hunt, I've taken a saying waterfowlers, and even though I've killed more geese in the last 3 or 4 years than I have ducks, I still think it's duck hunting. Man, I completely lost what I was talking about. I'll tell you what I started thinking about, man. I think you gotta squeeze your headphones a little bit tighter because you're getting that little rattle.
Okay.
I started getting distracted. But yeah, man, I've said this many times, waterfowl is, you can learn lots, and you can use experience to predict things, but by its very nature, it's an ephemeral creature.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't exist. If you have 500 acres, you've got deer that are on that 500 acres all the time. You could have the greatest waterfowling paradise on earth, and if those birds, for any number of reasons, a storm comes through or whatever, the moon phase or blah blah, I mean, those birds can literally pack up, and they've tracked a speckle-belly goose at 1,200 miles traveled in 24 hours.
Wow. 24 hours? That's some work.
A bird will get up, man, they get up high, and they get up on those thermals, man, and they can ride. I mean, you're talking about an average speed of over 100 miles an hour or something crazy. Maybe I'm maybe I'm saying this wrong, but it's impressive. But anyway, man, dude, this has been like legit. This has been one of the more fun hunting weekends I've had in a while, man.
Yeah, we were saying this today when we were coming out. I just feel like I'm a pretty social dude. When I live in Montana, so when I elk hunt, I often do it alone. Because I think just the way that elk hunting is often lends itself to solitude, and you need to kind of do your own thing a lot of times. I have a couple of elk hunting partners that we know each other, like we have a social contract, like we do it a certain way. But it takes a lot to get to know somebody in the elk hunting. But to sit in, I would say there are elements of that with duck hunting because you want to be safe, right? If you're in a pit blind with somebody, you want to know that they can handle themselves in their shotgun and be relatively safe around other people firing a weapon. But beyond that, man, it's such a communal experience. Like we just spent an hour and a half, 2 hours out here plucking ducks and drinking beer and listening to music. I mean, I wouldn't replace that. Like that has to be a part of the experience, in my opinion.
And it was fun. I mean, like that was actually a good time, So I would say that communal aspect is something that people really respond to with duck hunting. I'm into it with very specific parameters and still only part of the time. Like I do want to duck hunt every year by myself.
Right.
Like just me, or really me and my dog. And now that Amo's getting old and it'd be kind of cruel to hunt him. But shit, man, I was just thinking about that. Like, dude, it ain't ever the same out there by yourself without the dog. And like, there's a communion in that. Maybe it's just inherent.
Sure enough. I think it is, man. I really do. And I try to be a generalist. I have different passions, like at different levels, like I said. But in general, I want to be I enjoy the seasonality of the way a year looks. And at least in my life, people live in different places. Their year seasonally will look different. But for me, after big game season is over, I get like a month and a half, 2 months to think about community, really, like being with my family. It's the holidays, it's Christmas, it's Thanksgiving, I try to slow life down a little bit, and duck hunting just slides and fits right in there perfectly. Because it's always it's just a social event to me a lot of times.
Yeah, especially if it sounds like you're, duck hunting half a dozen times a year or 4 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that for many different reasons, it's like Arkansas and ducks and geese are it's very different than other places.
Yeah.
Like it is a cultural identifier, and then you start getting into the, for lack of a better term, the business of it. I love it. Like it is. It's just kind of like my little catchphrase. Like hunting ducks has changed the temperament and quality and tenor of my life.
Yeah.
But man, it is stressful to me.
Yeah.
And it and then I'm thinking about could I have done this better? Could I have done that? Was I, did I look up that? It's I'll tell you when it's not stressful, when it goes perfect and like you can do no wrong.
But I'm telling you, man, there is a element of this. You have a business too to think about, and you have folks that are paying for an experience, or folks you're bringing out that aren't even, that you're hoping to show.
Yeah, I'm hosting people all season.
This world, right? You're introducing them to this world, so you have a responsibility as like the tour guide or the shepherd or like somebody that's bringing someone else out and showing them this wonderful thing, and you want them to see the best parts of it, right? You want them to experience the things that are like the peak waterfowl hunting experiences. And that's, I know that pressure because I do that in other ways. I take people elk hunting, I take them turkey hunting, I take them deer hunting. I know what that feels like. I feel like I don't know if craftsman is the right term, but you work at it like that. And you work at the idea of where the decoys go and how to call and where to set up. And if it doesn't work, you want to hone like those skills. You need to further hone them and prove to yourself that time you spend is paying off. That's at least how I feel. when I'm
Totally.
I'm taking a new hunter out for turkeys, and I'm explaining to him like, this is the best thing ever. Wait till you experience it. I feel responsible for the words I just said, for the experience that person's about to have. And I know I've in the morning had like thunder breathing gobblers come out of the cypress in Florida and like blow steam out of their beak as they gobble in and come perfectly into the light and come into the decoys and you shoot them. It's perfect. I know what that looks like and feels like. And like
it's but I mean, this is a bit of hyperbole, but it's like explaining to somebody what it feels like to be in love. Like you can say all the cliched shit you want, man, but until you're like 15 and it happens for the first time, right? Like, dude, I remember being like 17 and this girl I was really into, and I mean, it just seemed like everything was going great, and then she broke up with me to get back with her ex-boyfriend who was on my lacrosse team. And I remember like being outside my mom's house, like it's snowing in St. Louis, and I'm just like standing underneath a street light, like smoking these Parliament 100s because I used to be able to get them from this gas station I worked at, and just
this is an incredible picture you're painting.
I'm listening to Counting Crows and just like bummed out. But like, I mean, you can laugh at that, but and it is funny at this point, but you probably know what it's like to have like your heart ripped out by some girl you're really into, right?
For sure.
How do you explain that to someone who's like, a sociopath and can't understand human emotion?
Yeah, I mean, it's true. You said today when we were out there, like there is this like romance about it all. If you're there for it,
mm-hmm.
Like if you're willing to let go of whatever pretense you have and just like experience. Like ducks and geese are amazing, man.
Watching them drop, like they'll corkscrew down sometimes.
Amazing. The whole experience is amazing. Talking to any wild creature and having it talk back to you is in and of itself this kind of very unique thing. I always feel like that's a moment in time. It's a flow state when you're talking to something.
Well, I'll tell you too with birds, man. And I'd say turkey hunting too is that, I mean, hunting in general, but I feel like specifically with birds that you're talking to, not just birds you're like flushing or something. It's all about potential. There's this, what you're attracted to is the potential for it to happen, right? Like, I mean, what's happening? Oh, hey, there's Doug. Oh, man, he turned. He broke on them corners. Oh, man, he's coming. Oh, son of a buck. He went down over in that bar ditch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the potential, because then when they do it right, and like an actual perfect hunt, the actual hunt that you want is you want it to not go quite right. Like you want it to almost happen, for 30 minutes or an hour, and then you make some adjustment, or you figure out like, I got to bark at them today, or man, they want almost no calling, or they just want like this little soft chatter or whatever.
Right.
And then you get it, and you can make it happen. Then it's, oh, dude, I figured it out.
Oh yeah,
I got it. And you've got it for a fleeting moment, and here's what happens a lot when you do get it. It works that day, and it works the next day.
Yeah.
And the third day, they're gone.
Yeah.
And then you enter trying to find them and figure out, and what are they doing again?
It's like this unique equation, and when you solve it, it just resets.
Yeah.
Because when you solve it, you kill that duck, and that duck is an individual as much as it's a part of a species. It's an individual.
Yeah.
It has its own conditioning, its own experiences, and it does a certain thing, for a bunch of reasons, all of its own, outside of the idea of what a duck is going to do in general, like as a duck. So it's just, and that's the allure of it too. Like that's endless. When I talk to a turkey and it talks back, and like I get in the state where I think it is responding to me. I did a podcast about elk calling this year with a guy, Corey Jacobson, and we were trying to teach people how to call elk was we sat down, and the idea of the podcast was we were going to teach people how to call elk. And to my utter delight, man, he turned it into like a conversation about emotion when calling, about emoting when you're calling. He's like, it doesn't matter the noise coming out. It matters how intentional you are, how much emotion you have, and how much understanding you have for what you're trying to say and who you're saying it to, and what that conversation might look like if it gets started. And I thought that was a really cool way to approach that, other than saying, put the call in the roof of your mouth, put your tongue here, and now blow really hard. And now go up in your tone and down. He didn't start like that. He just was explaining kind of how to be effective through emotion.
You know what that made me think of is, so like probably a lot of people think duck calls and they think like Main Street calling competitions, right? Which is
right.
That's not how you call ducks when you're hunting. That's a display of endurance and dexterity on an instrument.
Right.
But like the comeback call, I think of it when I've tried to explain people like what you're doing when you're calling, like the hail call.
Mm-hmm.
Is a it's like, hey, over here, look at me. It's like, pay attention to me, right? Or sometimes you put this like pleading thing, it's like ran, and I always tell people it's like please. Yep. And that's or you give them, and you hear people describe it, man, just a little contented quack, right? And then there's that alarm when they're they're looking around, what's going on here,
Is there any challenge? Is there a challenge quack? Like if you're a
like bow up on it.
Hell yeah, we should invent that right now if that's not a thing.
I mean,
like a challenge quack. You got a drake coming in and you're trying to fight that sucker.
What would it? Well, I don't know what you would do, man.
Like, what's up?
Well, okay, so in that scenario, I would think that you're talking about a drake coming in and another drake fighting it, right?
Yes.
But all that quacking is only the females. Like a drake mallard's like, it's just like this. I mean, you do it with a little whistle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Like the girls are the ones that are like really talking like and I love that dichotomy too, because the drakes are like the focus, right? And they're so brilliantly colored, and you can see that iridescence and that sparkle and all that stuff, right? But vocally, it's an unimpressive critter. It's not like a tom turkey that's like you can feel in your body.
Yeah, and like in much of that type of hunting, much of turkey hunting is defined by that gobble.
Mm.
I mean, it's interwoven into the experience. If there was no gobbling, spring turkey hunting would be completely different. Same with elk hunting. If there's no bugling,
yeah,
and you can experience both those things. Fall turkey hunting is completely different.
Have you done much of that?
It's the least compelling thing to me, because I just know what spring turkey hunting is, but I have done some of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Once I realized what it was, and I suspect at some point in my life I'll do some fall turkey hunting. But yeah, I was like, man, it's missing the romance.
Yeah, people always make fun of me for equating turkeys and elk, but it's similar. Elk in late rifle season, elk are completely different animals. They move through a landscape a different way. They relate to each other a different way. They relate to you in a different way. They are, for lack of a better term, in some ways, when they get down in agriculture, they are like livestock. Mm.
They're a herd animal.
They're a herd animal, so they become intensely a herd animal then. and turkeys are very similar in that way. So they lose their turkeyness or their elkness, and they become like just kind of a lifeless, to me, just a lifeless, food-starved, organism that's just not that elk that was screaming and running around the woods and dominating and fighting and pissing on themselves and, rolling around in the mud and grunting. And like that's what an elk is to me when I hunt them. But an elk just like crawling up in a field and popping up and there's an elk there just chewing its cud. Sorry, elk, late season elk, you're just not exciting to me.
Yeah, which that's the only kind I've done. But what I was responding to with that hunt too is like it was like physically hard for me, and like the location and like hunting in deep snow, which is something I don't do here. And what it did was it kind of whet my appetite to see what's going on in September. Right?
So now you're experiencing that's my waterfowl experience. Like you're happy to be there. You're happy to experience a new thing, a different thing from where you live. It's just that's what it is. I just describe it as passive. I hope that's not misleading. But it's passive because you're just not really in control. Somebody else has to show you. Sure.
Which is cool, man. Like everyone's got to learn.
Yeah.
Right. And some stuff will resonate with you, and you'll want to go down the rabbit hole, and some stuff won't.
Man, this year I have the culinary side of ducks and geese has been the revelation for me this year.
I mean, lots of potential. You're talking about potential, dude. Like you can do a lot of stuff with a fat bird, man.
So I have certainly always plucked birds. I've cooked plenty of mallards, plenty of geese, Canada geese over the years. But this year, even being here with you and learning kind of like you were saying earlier, kind of the things that put more chapters in the book for you, like the things that add to the story, the heart, gizzard, neck, all of it, feet.
Yeah.
They become they just expand your playbook of things that you can do with this creature.
Dude, they take, you look at it and the fact that it, best case scenario, you got some good fat on there, right? Like kind of, they don't taste like pork, but it's the same kind of thing. Like the fat on it tastes really good, right? And so they take smoke really well. They respond really well to either like a wet brine or like a dry cure, and then the addition of smoke. Like it's beautiful, just cooked very, very simply as like a pan-seared steak preparation. Yeah, dude. This is like one of my favorite things about having a duck camp going on is having a huge stock pot and just putting carcasses in there and feet in there and cook it for a day and then pull those bones out and throw more carcasses on there and add a little more water, and you just keep reducing and distilling and distilling. And then that's, I'm using that all year long. If I'm we ate some gumbo, I'm using it for gumbo, or maybe I'll cook rice in it, or I'll reduce it all the way until it's just that jello, and you can toss it in a pan sauce or fortify a soup or a stew with it. And it's, look, a popper is good. I like a popper, but you could go get an old pack of expired Durex condoms and wrap them in bacon and cream cheese and jalapeno, and it would taste good.
That's right. Shout out to Durex.
Hey, that's right, man. Sponsoring this podcast. I'm not opposed to it.
Sponsored by. No, I think I wonder. I was thinking about this when we were hunting in Idaho a couple weeks ago. Turkeys they're wild turkeys and turkeys in the popular sense, farm turkeys in the sense that, in the culinary sense, but turkeys have a place in our popular culture.
Sure.
A real, and I think elk do too. They have their place in popular culture. But ducks have not, especially in popular food culture, like staked their ground. Not a lot of people eat ducks that aren't duck hunters.
Dude, it's because you're leaning your head back on that.
Oh.
Sorry,
I thought I made a good point.
It just kept hitting this and rattling around. And I don't even know if that comes through on the recording. Dizzle, man, you got to fix it, buddy. That's my editor.
I like his name, Dizzle.
His name's Brian Sachs, but we've been friends since we were like
Put an
15.
R in there, it's Drizzle.
Dude, He's got that drip, man.
That drizzle.
Dizzle. You know what it was, man? I don't know why, but we started calling him Sax Dizzle. Now I still call him Dizzle. We're like,
we call my dad Sax, man. He's 69 years old. We call him Sax. That's
really? Why?
Because one of our friends once called him Daddy Fat Sax, and we just over the years we just shortened it to Sax and kept it.
That's pretty sweet.
That's cool.
Yeah, man. Look, dude, a duck is to me, man, a duck is a special thing all the way through, and I love the satisfaction of taking the little bit of extra time it takes to, get them plucked and really looking good, like just figuring out where it's best to use your fingers, when you can put them on the plucking machine, when you got to hit it with a little flame that squirts some stuff.
When you get that right, like that teal we're talking about, it's so visual.
Man,
it's
right,
so damn
dude.
satisfying.
And here's the thing, man, is like they all come out so different. Like all those birds we were cleaning, man, like I did the exact same process to all of them, and some of them just were more thin-skinned.
Yeah.
And they just want to abrade a little bit when you put any friction on them, and it used to really bother me because I just wanted perfect looking birds all the time. It's like, dude, you can't get it. And truthfully, dude, I almost never, I would actually hazard to say I never cook whole ducks.
So you never like a roasted duck?
Never, man.
I mean, based on what you've done when I've been here the last couple of days, why would you?
It's an inferior product. The breast meat cooks in a different way and at a different pace.
Amen. Jesse Griffiths, if you're listening to this, me and him, well, I don't know if he wants to be lumped into this, but I have a campaign against plucking whole turkeys.
Oh, really?
How could you? I get so upset about this, and it's probably the same way with ducks. The meat on the breast needs such a different treatment than the meat on the legs and the thighs. Cooking it all at the same time is nearly impossible, if not inefficient, because you have to, if you cook it at 150 degrees or 200 degrees, the breast will take a certain amount of time, and the legs will take 10 times that amount.
Yeah.
So it's I've seen a lot of people plucking wild turkeys. It looks beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Much like the duck looks beautiful, but it's nowhere. It's just inefficient, and it doesn't add anything from a culinary standpoint, I don't believe.
Okay, so I completely disagree with you. And I've talked to Jesse about this. So I pluck my turkeys.
On the turkeys? This is going to be good. Yeah.
I pluck turkeys all the way. And so here's why. Same reason I pluck a duck all the way. So you're absolutely right. I don't cook a wild turkey. I do it like I do a duck, right? Like the legs and thighs are for braising, slow applications with moisture. The breast, I do sear a little bit of turkey breast, and I've done like some.
Are you keeping the skin on your turkey breast?
Skin. So it depends. If I'm going, a lot of times if I'm going to fry turkey breast, I will keep the skin on.
Yep.
If not, like if I'm going to do like more of a nugget application or something like that, even with that, I'll still keep the skin on. But it's worth a turkey's not a hard bird to pluck. I think a turkey's easier to pluck than waterfowl because they don't have all that downy feathers. Mm-hmm. But I still want the addition of the like the fat and collagen content from the skin. So you got a couple options. If you don't want to cook your turkey with any skin on, I still want the bird plucked because I want all that skin either going into a stock pot or, okay, so check this out, right? You make some sort of say you want to make a gumbo with your turkey legs.
Yeah.
Right? It's an amazing garnish for that is just like crispy fried turkey skin, just like broken up like on little pieces, right? So I'm a huge proponent of plucking the whole bird. I say the heart, the liver, the gizzards. Now feet, Like I save spurs, so like I'm not really saving or putting the feet in a stock pot that much, but everything else I do very similar to a duck. And I'll tell you something else, man. A turkey has so much skin; it's a great application for like chicharrones. And so, yeah, I think you should pluck turkeys, and you can still cook it like a skinned bird, but you just have
I think we have an agreement here. The bridge has been built, because I 100% agree with that. I just don't. People that pluck them and present them like a Thanksgiving turkey.
Oh no, I would never do that.
That's ridiculous.
I would never do that.
Yeah, but all the things you said, absolutely. I think I generally don't pluck them because I don't see the idea of having them whole, but I like what you're saying. Like what you're saying is a great reason.
Or dude, so I braised down a bunch of it was like a drumstick and 2 turkey thighs the other day for tamales, and the skin added something to that braising liquid, which then gets pulled out to add moisture. So you pull some of that braising liquid out to you put that in the blender with your rehydrated guajillo peppers and all that other stuff, right? So then you're getting that layer in it as well. And then when you shred all that up, you have these little bits of like moist maker, little bits of skin and fat that are all mixed in with that meat. So then you like bite into it, and it gives it just a little bit more, that kind of umptuous mouthfeel, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
I would defer to you on the culinary
I'm
arts
plucking
for sure.
birds till the day I die, and I feel guilty too. Like if I don't, I feel like I'm not.
You're spoken like a true waterfowler.
Yeah.
Of your ilk, though, of somebody who respects the entire process in culinary.
Yeah.
The culinary benefits of something like
this. It's fun,
absolutely,
dude.
Man.
And I love looking at a plucked bird. Like it is incredibly satisfying.
A plucked wild turkey with the wings still on and everything plucked perfectly is incredibly satisfying. And same thing with a pheasant, same thing with a grouse, same thing with a duck. All of them the same, I think, in terms of you feel like that's the proper presentation for something like that.
Yeah, even if then, I will pluck that whole bird, I will admire it, and then I will break it down.
Yeah, they break it down. I feel like, if you're in a hurry, maybe one time you just, pop those thighs and legs off, pop the breast off.
I killed 6 turkeys last year, and I skinned one of them because I got that thing. When that thing died, it went into this poison oak patch, like gnarly poison oak patch. And I was like, dude, I'm just skinning this joker.
Yeah, man. No, I definitely, the things that you've said this last couple of days, and even just plucking out here in the back today, I have a new reverence for plucking. You've given me like a bit of a deeper perspective on the why, on a real why, not just because other people do it or because I feel like I have to, but the utility of it.
Well, and dude, I think, man, I almost kind of think of it as like a little prayer. It's like it's a moment for meditation, and you're thinking and you're focusing on these tiny little things, and you're seeing how something is put together. Like you're seeing that bird without the veneer. Yeah. Like, when we were plucking it all the way up to the head, and you could see that whole skin, and you realize it's such a frail, delicate thing.
I know, but it feels this will be a fun thing to articulate, but it does feel, I don't know, it feels ancestral in a way. There's a lot of people, like it just feels as though this is something that your grandmother did.
Yeah.
Or this is something that your grandmother's grandmother did. Sat on the porch and plucked ducks and put the feathers in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Or sat on the porch and plucked chickens. And, that it just feels like something that has that historical weight to it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there is a bit of connection to that continuum, right?
There's certainly no real. You wouldn't feel anyway romantic about just like popping the breasts out.
No, and look. Even still, occasionally, I've breasted a few birds in the last few years, and And every time I did it, it was a deal where, I age my birds in the fridge. Like I don't clean birds the first day. They clean better. They kind of absorb that moisture. Just everything's better about it. And man, I've gone 14 days with birds in the fridge, and you got a storm on their back. You want to make sure you're not dealing with like gut shot birds, all that stuff. But I've gotten in situations where I'm like, oh man, I'm going to lose this bird, or ugh, I thought it wasn't gut shot, and I aged it for 9 days, and it ended up just like, like the bottom. There's a little bit of a greenish hue happening here. But if you put them on their backs, all that funk, that's like it's a protection measure, right? Because all that funk will settle at the bottom. So my worst case scenario for a duck is completely legal and like not messing with wanton waste at all. And I mean, I feel a little twinge if I get to the point, I got to breast out 3 birds or something during the year, but it's something I can live with as long as the other ones I put the time into.
Yeah, and it feels a lot of times when you hunt big game, you got to get messy.
Yeah.
You're going to gut them, even if you don't gut them. Even in, like most of the folks where I live in the West, we'll use the gutless method. You got to pack them. You got to haul them around. And then you got to bring the meat home. You got to butcher that thing. If you're doing it yourself, obviously it's even more. It's a messy endeavor, and I like that about it. I like the gritty, bloody nature of it. And a lot of times with waterfowl and with upland birds and things like that, you don't really get that full experience. You can gut them with one swipe, a couple of fingers, and boom, you're done. But when you're plucking them, you get it in there, man. We're out there using a blowtorch, or a propane torch. We're using a pull to start gas powered plucker. Like there's feathers everywhere. We're
all in your
hosing
beard
things.
stuff.
It's in your beard. Like that to me, that visceral experience, that kind of gritty nature, it feels like work. And when you work on a food, it effing tastes better at the end of the day.
I mean, dude, my hands. I realized this today. I was like feeling my fingers. My fingers, 1, 2, 3, 5 of my fingers have nicks on the pads. Like my plucking fingers feel like sandpaper. Like I feel like I earned it. That's kind of like a little bit of a badge.
You come in here like covered in blood, and your pants are wet, and you got feathers in your beard, and you take your hat off, and there's somehow got feathers. I somehow got feathers underneath my hat in my hair.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude.
Yeah, it's dope. It's really cool. Yeah. If this is where I live, my wife would kick me out and make me sleep outside tonight for all the feathers.
All the feathers in the back,
But in the bunkhouse here, like it's in the bungalow, it's accepted, if not promoted, for there to be feathers floating around.
Well, dude, I'll give old Marianne, my wife, a shout out. I do that in the backyard of my house too, man.
Cool.
I'll go to the far corner of the yard, and it'll look just like that.
That's cool, man. Yeah, my wife actually is. Our garage is sometimes. I still have to go home and clean my butchering area from a month ago, probably.
Well, that's part of the holistic nature of like who they're partnered with, right?
That's true enough.
Like what you told me your wife told you when you were like, because I texted you on like Wednesday, and then you were here on Friday, and she said just bring back a bunch of meat.
She said bring back some meat, and she knows that this is what I do, number one.
Sure.
But it's just kind of like my medicine, man. Just traveling around, seeing shit, being active. So she knows that. But yeah, she's like, bring back some meat. I'll take care of the rest.
Bet, man. Well,
I was like, yes.
Yeah, dude. Hey, have her do some of them speck steaks, man.
I'm going to show her the video of the speck steak and eggs.
Oh, that was tasty, man.
Yeah, and I'm going to show her some gumbo, and we're going to get down. And it's, this time of year, too. I live in Montana, as I said, and it's cold, man. I can't go do a lot of the things I like to do. So it's a good time to do what you've been doing here, have a stock pot going, to be working on a brine, or to be making pastrami, or to be just be doing things in the kitchen that require more than a singular investment, that require days or it's a time for that. It's like it
Yeah.
becomes a place to gather.
I love a cold day and having that warm, brothy based thing. Like it warms you up in a different way
man.
than eating fried chicken or something, man. Which is like, I like fried chicken too, but yeah, man, there's
Good enough. Yeah.
it gets you all the way from like the pit of your stomach, it warms you all the way up, and it because it's warming you on your way down, and then it's like settling there, and it's just kind of bringing up the core temp, dude. It's a beautiful thing.
In the summertime, I like a pasta salad.
Sure.
With a little salad dressing or whatever you're gonna do. It's like it tastes, it's fresh, it's cool, it's like.
And that's great to do. Yeah, something like that. Just like it's hot, a fresh salad, and a grilled, big fat grilled speck breast.
Oh,
like medium rare, and I mean we'll do them like steak salads or whatever. Yeah, it's great.
One of the things I was telling you earlier today is my dad. Obviously, is a generation prior to mine. His dad wasn't a hunter. He came to hunting in his own way, and he really loves and has expressed to me quite a bit that he loves that my generation, our collective generation, has taken to the food, the culinary aspects, the butchering, kind of just the proximity to, the culinary aspects from start to finish, from soup to nuts. He's always said, man, I'm so glad that you appreciate that, because we never did. We just fried the back straps or popped the breasts out. And how, you can't blame him, because he didn't have anybody to show him.
Yeah.
Or to tell him this was possible. And now it gets to all come full circle. I get to share with him when he kills a deer. I was telling you, he'll call me when he's butchering it, and he'll ask me, like, what do I do with this cut? What's this cut? It's shaped this way. What's that football shape one at the end of near the top of the leg there, the hind quarter?
Yeah, what can I do with that? Yeah.
What do I do with that silver? Should I leave that on there or take it off? And it's like knowing the context of knowing that he has an appreciation for that exchange makes it even better for me. And when I get to share that with him, we don't live near each other, but when he comes to visit, which is often, we share squirrel. We're going to go squirrel hunting in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll skin squirrels together, and we'll make slippery squirrel pot pie, and we'll I'll appreciate that I'm able to do some of those things with him and give him that perspective and bring it back for him.
I was thinking when you were talking about this, I need to make a correction. So no, still not. I'm still not gonna cook a whole duck usually. But have you ever had like this kind of a southern staple? You ever had duck and dressing?
No.
So that's great, man. We've done that for Thanksgiving. And so on that, I cook the breast and the leg and the thigh together. Usually for that, what I like to do is I take a pair of shears and I split them down the breast and halve them, because you can get it down into that.
You're not spatchcocking though. You're cutting it in half.
Because I want it. I just want it in half, and then put it bone side down in that dressing and bake it in that dressing, and it's almost like a semi-moist.
Boy, that sounds good.
Application, and you get and even in something like that, if you do end up with a little bit of textural difference between, like the bottom half and the breast meat, it all works together too, because you got those like drippings and that cornbread and all those savory elements that you're imparting moisture into it in a different way, and that's really great. Now I'm just thinking of all these ways. You can also fillet. You ever fillet the breast off with the leg and the thigh attached?
Yep.
So if you do that, you got to do the tendon pull method, where you get your fingers under there when you're popping off the feet and you pull the tendons out, and then fillet it with that leg and thigh on there, and then go in there with the tip of your knife and debone the leg and the thigh.
Ooh.
And if you do that, salt it generously. I would say salt it like the day before. Do like a dry brine in the fridge, And then have you ever had like brick chicken?
Yeah, I have got that.
Do that like brick chicken.
Whoa.
It's a short cook. But do that with like brick chicken, but start it in a cold pan, and you will still end up with the leg and the thigh a little more toothsome, al dente maybe if you could call it that, than the breast. But it shortens the disconnect in texture, and the rest of it is so good that it makes up for it.
Yeah, and I don't, just thinking about it as you explain that, wild turkey legs are just tougher than duck legs.
Dude, a wild turkey leg is a tough thing. Like, you have to cook it for a long time for it to give up the ghost.
Yes. Yeah.
And those tendons are...
They're like in the you have to like use the only way to get them out of the meat out there is use a fork to get in between,
Dude, those things are... The tendons, those big, thick ones...
Impressive they are.
They don't break down when you braise it. They stay... It's like they're petrified or something.
Yeah. Turkey's doing a lot less flying than a duck, I think.
Yeah, but man, they're impressive flies. You wouldn't think they could get up there like they do.
That's true. But yeah, I think about that a lot on just next level, because I was around Sean Weaver, a mutual friend of ours, who's a duck fanatic, and he was the entire weekend I was either watching what he was doing or getting little culinary tips and tricks from him, or just little ways he plucks. And I've got a master class in the last month on the culinary part of waterfowl hunting. I feel like the whole thing really, but I've done plenty of duck hunting in my life. But for whatever reason, this year the culinary part is just all that more compelling.
Dude, it's great, man. Make sure I don't let you leave without some of that speckle belly bacon, dude, because that stuff's awesome, dude.
I can give me a reason to come back if we forget, but man, I can come back for that.
That stuff is so good, and dude, like it's a little bit of a flex, right? It's really easy to do, but you put that on a plate in front of somebody,
we had bear hearts in our gumbo.
Yeah, so I basically did like a bacon cure on a bear heart and smoked it.
That's good shit. That's a flex.
Yeah, I'm doing it because I'm
in the
into
best
it
way, though.
But I do, I like it. I was saving that for someone that would appreciate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you are, and then like by doing that, depending on who you cook that for, you become like a bit of an ambassador for what you were saying earlier, which is like, check this out. What's that? Oh, that's a bear heart.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't eat organs? Oh, no? Well, check that out. You don't eat this. You don't do this. You don't take the gizzards. You don't do giblets. Check this out. I've seen that throughout my hunting career. Like, to go back to the story I'm telling about my dad, like, it's just, you become an ambassador for a better way to do it. And I think it's fail-safe. I think you showing someone that and them truly appreciating it and following you down that path to more holistic cooking, they're going to see the benefits every time. I don't think it would fail.
Man, usually people are into it. Like, everybody's not going to go. Most people aren't going to go as deep.
Even if they go a little bit deeper than they already are. Yeah,
that's all I'm trying to get them to do. If all I ever do is get people to save the legs and thighs off of their ducks, I'm good, dude. Like, most people ain't gonna cook stock for days and days and days and save every bone off everything they kill, and like save enough of the fat out of the butts of specks to make roux. Like, most people aren't going to do that, and I totally get that. But man, how long does it take on a mallard, just go ahead and pluck that leg and thigh, and then
you're telling people save the butt fat, man. You should do a hashtag.
Butt fat.
Hashtag
save the butt fat, man.
Save that butt fat.
What is it? This is Brazilian butt lifts everyone's doing, man.
I get that butt fat.
That BBL, man, that speckle belly BBL.
Got that Black Tech Revival T-shirt. Hashtag butt fat.
BBL, butt fat.
Save that butt fat.
Dude, look, they might run me out of Brinkley if I take a place that used to be a church and just start talking about butts too much.
Yeah, you got a pretty good place here. I wouldn't want to one runner leads down the wrong
Yeah,
path.
that small town stuff, dude. That ain't no joke, man. Man, I'm gonna do just a hard, awkward segue if I could.
Please.
Because, dude, this weekend has been. It's like what I want my. It's what I want my hunting weekends to be like. And I told you, I built this. I built Black Duck. Initially to be a personal duck camp, and then I've never really been able to use it as that, because like as soon as I did it, people got interested in what I was doing, and I was always like hosting or like trying to tell my story, or like I'm responsible for someone's experience. And this was the first, maybe not I can't remember, but this felt like, man, it was like chill, and I didn't have to go far to hunt. Like, we're hunting 6 minutes away from here, and there was plenty, and because of that, there's like plenty of time to like hang out and have these long, winding, heady conversations,
Yeah, a couple of podcasters we got that done.
Oh, dude, man, yeah, it's and truthfully, like, it's great in that contained space of like a hunting weekend, right? Like,
yeah,
you can't have these conversations all day long, every day, like for weeks and weeks, man. You drive yourself crazy. But especially, I mean, we had met before, but we never really hung out. Like, to have like a kind of a good, long, hard introductory hang, right?
Yeah, man.
Dude, it's great for that, man. And yet, I mean, to go back to the beginning of the conversation, that like camaraderie, it gets overused, but that camaraderie, just that community,
I love it.
It's super dope, dude. And man, I've been learning a ton from you this weekend, because, I mean, what are you, like 15 years in the hunting industry, something like that?
Something like that, yeah, 14 or 15. Yeah.
I mean, and you've worked for, like, I mean, like, really, dude, like, you've worked for like the bigs, right?
Yeah, ways, yeah.
I mean, dude, think about it, like NRA, Yeti, Meat Eater, working all the way up to now you're developing, what it seems like to me is you're taking all that stuff that you've learned throughout like your adult life and working and making these connections, and you've like formed and created your own entity. Yeah, man, just the conversations have been super illuminating for me, which is also so helpful because I'm absolutely I'm like an awkward or like somewhat reluctant part. I mean, it's even hard and weird for me to say that, like, I'm in the hunting industry. I mean, to some degree, I guess
You're in
I am.
it, man. We're not letting you out either.
But yeah, man, there's just and because I'm so far removed from like the LA of hunting, Bozeman. I'm just like, I was out here in this like
come visit me in Hollywood, bitch. I'm out there.
Like backwoods in Arkansas.
Yeah.
There's just all this stuff I don't know, and it's really interesting to hear somebody who's I mean, you kind of got into it in this very standard way, and you've been witness to this hunting renaissance, and a big participant and driver of it too, right?
It does feel that way, man. It does feel that way. It's good that I just feel that I'm at a place in my life, and I think maybe you could say this about yourself too, where I think this is partially a sign of our times, where people are feeling more free to go and do things outside of most structures, let alone a corporate structure. Like, there used to be a way when I got into doing what I do, there was just a way to do it. Like, you get a job, you work your way up, you're a associate editor, and guess what? If you do a good enough job at that, guess what you get to be? Assistant editor. And then guess what? You get to be managing editor. And then you get to be, then they made a bunch of weird stuff up above that, like senior executive. But you know what you really wanted to be? Editor-in-chief. Because then you have the experience, the status, the power to not only to drive creative work, but to kind of be a figurehead for something. You know, to be the face of something.
Yeah.
You get your own little page right in the front of the magazine, man. And when I got in to media, Twitter was just happening. I remember I went to a conference, I think, in D.C. with our college class, and they started talking. There was like a booth about Twitter, and we were laughing at the name. Like, that's never going to... I remember my professor was like, that's never going to take off. Twitter.
Yeah, famous last words, huh?
Yeah, Twitter, MySpace. So I do feel as though I'm not an old I'm not an old head. I'm 37, but I got into hunting and hunting media when I was 22. I just turned 22, so fresh into my 20s, and I've really grown up in this.
Yeah,
you know, in a lot of ways, So it's nice to be at a place where I can and graduate from those experiences as amazing as they were, and as fulfilling as they were, and then cut my own path. You know, it feels good. It feels.
Man, you know what it is making me think about is, do you know who Brene Brown is?
No, I don't.
Brene Brown is like this, I don't know what you'd call it. I mean, I guess like kind of a philosopher, like, popular culture. I don't know, kind of, like kind of a little bit on the Oprah tip a little bit. Maybe that's the wrong description, but actually very interesting and nuanced lady, and has really cool stuff to say. But I remember listening to her, and she was talking about the idea of power. And and that's kind of what you're referencing with, like, getting to that editor-in-chief, right, and having that page up front. And she talks about, like, the inclination to claw your way to the top of something, or the perceived top of something.
The hierarchy.
Yeah, and then keep your foot on the neck of everybody else to keep them from getting there. And, there's lots of stuff in society right now. This is what's really motivating it, is it's an idea that power is finite. Yeah. There's a certain amount of power in the world, and it has to, when it's gained, it can't be relinquished, and it has to be compiled and cumulative and ever-growing. And, man, when you change your perspective and realize that idea of power, and, I don't mean domination, but I mean this more in a sense of, like, empowerment.
Yeah.
The ability to recognize your own ability or your own power. Like, when you realize that power is infinite, right? Like, there's a finite amount of power in whatever established structure there is. And the way to make power infinite is to create another structure.
That's right. Yeah, I've learned from a lot of people smarter than me about that exact subject. And I think also it's a product of where our society is right now. After COVID, people started working from home. People started living where they wanted to live.
Mm-hmm.
It became more accepted to do things like that. The gig economy started to be, more established as a way to work. They used to call it freelance, but just call it a gig economy, whatever you want to say. So there is some of that in there. Like, it's just more accepted to do. But I do think that I feel and have felt empowered doing it on my own. We were saying earlier, like, when I get a premium subscriber, when I get a win in the content space, or when I just do a really good podcast, I'm proud of it. I'm really proud of it. It's mine, man. And I don't have to do it alone. I can choose who I spend my time with. and we can create our own version of whatever that hierarchy needs to look like for us to be successful. And I would even say that I wouldn't even create a hierarchy, more of a community of people that care about the same thing. And hunting hunting is such, like you said, it's such a communal thing, but it also is, I think people that really care about it and that think about conservation, think about hunting, and they have this ownership of it, the thing, the community, all the people that do it. You feel like it's part of your identity, and you want to do better for it, right? So I feel that intensely, and so I'm able to do more with the people I respect, the people I want to spend time around, create more things on my own. And also, every struggle is amplified, every success is amplified. Not to sit here and bang on all the wonderful experiences I had at the companies you mentioned that I worked at. They're all great, but each of them took a little bit of my identity. When I was at Yeti, dude, I was the Yeti guy.
Yeah.
When I walked into a room, they're like, "There's the Yeti guy." Huh? When I worked at Meat Eater, there's Ben O'Brien. He's a Meat Eater guy. So they take a little bit of your identity in a professional sense. So it's been nice to be able to craft my own version of that. So it's.
Man, it's I think that's a personality trait. Like, and I think it's a personality trait that can develop, right?
Yeah.
Like once you're ready for it, which is that, for me to be satiated as a person, I've got to have that. I've got to have my wins be mine, and I don't mean just specifically mine. Like I've got my unit. Like my wins are Mary Ann's wins. Like
That's right.
I write articles. Mary Ann does the photography. Like we do a lot of stuff in tandem like that, and I feel good about that. Like I feel like that's my unit winning. But it's just like completing any hard thing at that moment. What's kind of scary about it is you realize there's no end to it.
Yeah.
Like you have to keep growing and finding contentment and achievement in all these different things, and then reckoning. Like when we were sitting there before we were eating the gumbo, and you were talking about like some stuff that people you're interacting with that they were doing and like falling short of your expectations, and I'm just going like, oh my god, dude, like I'm doing these things, dude. I'm doing.
He's talking to me, but he doesn't even know it.
But man, it's like,
yeah.
But like there's actually there's pride in. There's a small initial bit of pride in being able to recognize that and take some ownership of it, and then actually doing something about it and correcting a shortcoming, and then later on be like, man, I remember when I used to be like that, but now I'm like this.
Yeah. Anybody ever said to you, I have a lot to prove?
Yeah.
Like that's a fun statement to say. I got a lot to prove. Well, when you have kind of the comfort of a salary and a corporate job, and a lot of your worth within the community, much of my worth within the community, at least when I was a Yeti guy, was my connection to Yeti, right? Mm-hmm. I'm a portal to, and that's what I signed up for, so honestly it's a bad thing. But now I'm out here, like I have to prove it to everyone I've ever met, prove it to myself. Every smart idea I had that my boss didn't want to do, now I can just do that idea. And I got to prove that I can make it work.
Yeah.
I got to prove that I'm worthy of this risk, and that's like, and my unit, my family, I got to prove to them that I can do it. And just that simple act of proving yourself, and like if you have any inkling of imposter syndrome, or if you wake up in the morning and you're just not sure you have the right direction, the thing I'm doing right now, and I'm kind of in the early days of, is so filled with moments of proving it that it just every day feels like an exercise in reality, an exercise in struggle and conflict and resolution and building. And I've realized that sometimes I get frustrated with struggle, but struggle and building are one and the same. There's no difference between the two things. Because when you're building something, you have to go and you got to struggle. It's a process. And to get frustrated at that process is to get frustrated at building. And that's what you're doing no matter what. You're building Black Duck Revival right now.
Yeah, sure. Having that convo. Yeah, it's part of it.
So to me, I don't know. I've learned a lot about that. I've learned, and it's only, I'm not an expert in it because I've only been out on my own for a short bit of time. But a lot of things that I thought I needed, I'm getting.
Yeah.
And I'll clarify that by saying, like, in the corporate world, I always needed more autonomy and more control. And I think corporations, the best ones, are the ones that can trick you for the longest into thinking you have control and autonomy. That's what smart people want, that control. Intelligent people, well-meaning people want control and autonomy. You seek it. It's part of what you need. A good corporation gives you a role within the hierarchy, gives you kind of a structure, but then lets you go and lets you think you have some autonomy and some control, which in reality you have very little of when it comes down to it.
Yeah, it's why, like, if you work construction or like, everyone's always complaining, like, man, you can't get anyone good to work for you. Whenever you do, man, then you lose them. They go out on their own, and it's like, yeah, man, because everyone worth a shit wants to do it. Wants to do it for. That's not the right way to say that. When folks, I think a lot of people, when they realize that they can be the person that can be counted on to do it, it's not even as much about, man, I could be making all the money. It's that I'm running a business. Why am I running a business for somebody else? I should be doing this for myself.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a product that when I got to see, I've listened to your podcast and I've kind of like watched over the years that what you've been building, and I probably came to know about it years after it was in your head and months and years after you started actually putting these things together.
Sure.
I came to it late. I came to it after you had already kind of put in a lot of the work and people were learning about what you had already built, right? Or like the actual brand, the structure, the thing that you're doing. And now that I get here and I see it, I'm like, yeah, man, this is everything I wanted it to be. It's very
sweet, dude.
It's very intentional, man. It has, like, when you were just talking earlier, I'm thinking this is, if you were going to show somebody your version of duck hunting, you've done that for me. Like, we're plucking ducks with a machine that you pull. Like, we're drinking beer. We've got a mixed bag of ducks, but they're all being treated with the same reverence. Mm-hmm. There's not one duck or goose that you're like, this was not very good. We just kind of put that over here. All of them get the exact same treatment, and they're shown the reverence that they desire. And then on the stove is a roux and a freaking stock pot and some gumbo. And you got the people around you, the community. Like, all that, man. That's an expression of you, like a very succinct and clear expression of your version of duck hunting.
Well, and it's constantly developing too, dude. Like that stock pot thing. That's something I would do after people left. And then this year I was like, dude, I'm just going to keep a stock pot going all the time, man. Because you like come inside, you smell it, right? But it communicates something to people. Like, this is ongoing. This is not just I really am not into people calling, and I feel like they do it a lot more with duck hunting, but they call it a sport, right? Yeah. And like, it's not a sport to me. It's Hank Shaw referred to it as a pursuit.
That's exactly what I do.
I like that.
I love that. I love that you got that from him. That's awesome.
And it's you're trying to show, like, look, both of us are talkers, right? Like, we can I mean, that's what we do. We sit around and we're egotistical enough to think that people want to listen to us.
Yeah.
But man, there's a time and a place to talk, and there's something being demonstrative in an understated way can be very, very powerful. And so, I mean, it would be disingenuous for me to say like, oh, I just happen to have this stockpile. Like, I made the decision this year that I was like, dude, when people come up here and we hunt, dude, there's going to be a stockpile on for 3 days. And they're going to watch me. They're going to watch me like, you ever watch that movie, The Dark Crystal?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Remember Gelfling,
so
I
long.
take your essence.
Yeah,
like, dude, I'm taking the essence out of that duck, right?
I hope everybody listening has watched that.
Gelfling, Gelfling, friend, Gelfling.
Dude, you're just expressing your values to people. That's all, man.
Yeah.
You're instilling in them that this is important to you, and it has this like familial quality to it. Southern peoples, the South, has a special quality like that to me.
Yeah, there's a flavor to it, you know.
Yeah,
I think a lot of times folks, even though, I mean, look, there's a lot of people that are in Arkansas because they got no option to leave. Like, I'm in Arkansas because I chose to be in Arkansas, right? There's all sorts of bad stuff about Arkansas, but there's some amazing soul-filling things that I've been able to tap into while I'm still aware of the things I'm not about, and I don't like or I despise even.
Yeah.
But there's some stuff I've been able to tap into, and when I started realizing that in a culinary sense, like, I'll throw some. I'll pull some like classic French methods and stuff, and I'll stretch some stuff, like doing force meat sausages and duck neck skin and all that. But when I really decided that I was just going to lean in to the familiar things that made me feel good, food wise, and just, I'm not reinventing the wheel at all. Shit, like we talked about. A lot of what people are doing in a culinary sense with wild game is like Hank Shaw derivative. Like, he kind of like literally wrote the book on that stuff, right? And I've cooked with Hank a lot. And even if I've cooked Hank's recipe, I mean, I've made gumbo with Hank. Like, what's going to be produced by Hank is going to be very different than what I'm going to produce. And so I've just got to lean into me telling my story. And I think that with food, like, look, obviously talking, obviously writing, but like with food, man, that is storytelling at its best. It can just be, fucking Wonder Bread and margarine, or it can be 100-year-old sourdough starter that, my pregnant wife made for me. She like made me a loaf of bread for me to take into the woods when I was bear hunting. And like, that's what I was eating. Like, at the end of the day, when I'm like huddled up, I'm like eating this bread that my wife made.
Well, I'll put it to you another way. I was just on the phone with my kids before we hit record, and I told my boys, my older son likes to know everything. Who I'm with. He likes to know what we got.
I heard you when we were hunting in the year, like, man, we got a wood duck, we got a speck.
He'll go back. He has a little book. He'll go back and look all them up and read about them.
That's awesome.
And that's what he likes to do. He likes to know facts about everything, And I said, and he asked me, I was like, we got some speckled-bellied geese, we got a wood duck, we got a green-winged teal, and we got, I gave him the whole list. And then he goes, well, tell me who you're with. I saw him with Jonathan Wilkins. And he said, well, what, like, where does he live? And I said, well, I'll tell you when I get home. How about that? And at first, I was in a rush to sit down and do this, and then I said, do you want to, when I get home, do you want to cook some ducks? And he goes, yeah.
Sweet.
I said, ask your brother. And his little 3-year-old brother in the background, yeah. Like, yeah, Dad. And in a way, in a really cool way, I'll be able to tell them your story while we're cooking ducks, man.
Yeah,
Like, yeah. That shit travels.
Dude, big time, man.
And connects. I'll be able to tell them like, hey, this is where I learned this part, or this is why we do this, and they'll remember, man. Like they'll understand that. And to go even further into it, like I went to journalism school, and one of the things I always felt about myself is I wanted to tell other people's stories, because that's a big part of journalism. There's other very, very important tenets to it, but being able to, like, being compelled to tell stories about people. And so within the hunting space, man, there's so much connective tissue in the food. There's so much connective tissue in the like what we're talking about with the intentional way that you've built this thing. It provides those touch points for people to tell your story. Like, they come here, they get a little piece of it, they get the energy, they see your version of duck hunting, and they go back and they cook it up for somebody.
Dude, that's the best part, man. Is like sometimes people will send me pictures, stuff they cooked. Man, I got a couple this last few weeks. They were like, "Hey, man, I was really paying attention to you when I was there," and then they like show me what they made. Or I had a dude show me that with a turkey. He was like, "Man, I was watching you break those turkeys down," and he like got the gizzard and the heart and the liver and everything laid out. And I was like, "Dude, one, that's incredibly validating, right? But it's also, you're changing the narrative, or you're helping or contributing in some small way to changing the narrative for that person and their family, right? Like I'm actually specifically thinking of this dude Joel, who's like gotten to hunt in the last couple of years, and he came down here last year with Hunters of Color, and he like finally got his first deer this year, right? And he was like messaging me, man, like, dude, I want my kids to be into this, like what can I make for them to make this work? And I was like, like, what do they like to eat? And he's, just like kind of standard American kid stuff. I said, dude, grind that stuff up and make them spaghetti. But tell them about the hunt when you're doing it, or make lasagna with them. Like, dude, this doesn't. You don't always have to blow someone's mind, because even just something very simply prepared, man, like with intention, man, you're communicating some of yourself, or you're communicating like how you feel about that person. Like, when I'm cooking food for someone and I'm giving it to them, I want them to feel like I thought they were worth me doing the best I could for them. Yeah,
and I got a real thing about sharing the best cuts of elk with somebody.
Yeah,
they're special. That's special stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think, and what we're talking about is exponential, because I was saying it while we were eating gumbo earlier that this guy Shane Mahoney, this famous conservation scientist,
was with this like divine deep voice.
He's just an amazing character. If you don't know about Shane Mahoney, please go look him up and enjoy. He has a thing called the Wild Harvest Initiative, and it's an initiative to kind of look at the impacts. His is more like societal on a broad scale, economics on a broad scale. What's the impacts of wild harvest? What does it do? How much money does it contribute? How much weight socially does it have? To kind of quantify those things in a real way. And they did some preliminary surveys and studies and things, and one of them was just a survey, a pretty in-depth survey of a bunch of people. If you harvest something or kill something, do you share it? This is simplifying their exercise, but it was 8 or 9 out of 10 people said, yeah, I share it. I share this thing I killed or this harvest, and then I tell a story. Sometimes I think I'm annoying when I sit people down and I'm so excited, like a little kid, to tell them where I got this. You don't come to my house and eat without me telling you where everything came from on the plate. But if it came from Costco, I don't say anything.
Yeah. Well, dude, that's the cost of admission, man.
Yeah.
And it's part of you you're also letting that person know, man, like this is something that's very important and valuable to me, and you are important enough to me for me to share this with you.
Yeah, I cooked a duck up for a mallard up for my mother-in-law right before Christmas, and I sat her down, lit some candles, and put some wine in front of her, and then seared this duck up and sliced it on top of some mashed cauliflower with some broccolini and did the whole thing. And I think she felt, and then I explained to her where we got it, and I think she felt like a small part of what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Small part of like the thing that I go off to do that they never experience, that she definitely never experiences. And I thought it was cool, man. She loved it, and we laughed and had a good time, and it was cool to be able to share that with her. Because I don't get to see her as much as I would like, and it was cool to just kind of let her into my world a little bit. Be like, here's a token of this thing that I do. Share it with you a little bit.
Yeah, because I value you. Like you, the whole process is you communicating value to somebody else, right?
Yeah.
And dude, I don't play that stuff, man. Like initially, at the very beginning when I started hunting, like no one around me really hunted, right? Yeah. So it was a novelty to people, and I shared some meat with some folks, man, and check with them 6 months later. I'm like, oh man, what did you think? And I'm like, oh man, I haven't cooked it, and dude, it really,
like I'm coming to get it back,
dude. Even now, I'll tell somebody like, look, I will give this to you if you don't cook this. And if you don't cook it the way I'm telling you to, man, you'll never get another piece of it from me. I
love that you don't play with that shit, because it is. I'm gonna say this, and if it makes me sound like a bad person, then it is what it is. My wife, oftentimes for church, she'll get a list of people that had a baby or sick or whatever, and she likes to make them something real nice, and sometimes she'll take like a very precious cut of my elk, my deer, and cook it up and take it over there. And it's two parts why I hate it. One, I don't know who that person is.
Yeah,
I don't know them.
Yeah,
I want to know them. I don't know if they're gonna appreciate it. They could be vegetarian for all I know. I want them to appreciate it. I want to see them appreciate it. And the other thing is, when you're delivering something to someone you cooked in your kitchen, you got to put it in tin foil, and you got to take it over there, and who knows when they're going to eat it, or if they're going to warm it back up. It's like, the entire thing is wrong to me. So my wife's like, you don't want to share your venison with people in need. I'm like, no, it's not that. But there's some rules.
Yeah.
Like, there's some ground rules for it. And only someone that hunts and appreciates the food like that would understand that I'm not being difficult.
Or, man, like, maybe you are a little bit. And
maybe I am.
That's okay.
Deal with it.
Dude, and look, I've got tears. It's not that hard to get some whitetail meat off of me. Like if you're...
You should create... This would be like a T-shirt you do with like a food pyramid.
Dude, and like, look, I'm in a position where I can... No, that's not true. Like, man, if I give you some turkey, if I give you a turkey breast, dude,
if I give you a turkey breast...
Like, I think real highly.
We better be married.
I gave Hal Herron a turkey breast and then like a leg and a thigh, man. But you know what, dude? Like, I've got the message somewhere. I can't remember if he DM'd me or texted me, man. But he said, man, tell me how to cook this. I really appreciate you giving this to me, and I want to do it justice. It's like, dude, that's why you got the turkey breast right there, dude, because you get this. But yeah, man, like, I mean, hell, I'd give somebody a back strap out of a whitetail.
Yeah.
Like, bear meat? I'm not giving, dude, I gave somebody some bear meat off the first bear I killed. Oh man. I checked with them this year, and I was like, man, what'd you think about that? And they're like, I didn't cook it, man. I didn't know what to do. I mean, I'm not just mad. It like hurt my feelings. Like I felt like I had been wounded, and I felt like I had misjudged this person. You know, like I mean, it was a reckoning.
Yeah. This is something I'm glad that you're affirming, because I go back to the turkey thing. I can't remember ever giving anyone turkey meat.
Really?
Ever. Coming to my house, or I'll come to your house and bring it and cook it, and we'll enjoy it together. Absolutely. I think I might have to go and give some turkey meat this year to somebody, because I can't remember when I've ever. Because I love it so much, and it's a finite resource.
Yeah.
And I've always had people that have ever listened to me talk about turkey hunting and will know. And Jesse Griffiths and I talk about this quite a bit. And I think I've converted him to this line of thought. But I think I looked at turkeys and the yield of meat on each turkey and kind of how much my family eats over a year's time. And I decided that if I was going to make an assumption, I would say like 10 turkeys a year would put my family in white meat for the entire year.
Which is that's a ton of turkeys.
And you can offset that with some pheasants and some, a few ducks here and there. But like really, like replacing chicken consumption in my life, lunch meat, stuff like that, which I hate being in my house. But every once in a while it is, and I can't really tell I'll say, honey, that's not how we roll. She's like, you want me to just eat red meat every day all the time?
Yeah.
So we had that conversation. I said, well, if that's going to be it, I got to go out there and replace that stuff. I've never gotten to 10. I've gotten to 8, 2 or 3 different times. I think 3 times. So it's precious to me that way, because you got to make it last till spring.
Dude, no, I get that. And look, I got to the point. So like, I killed 6 turkeys. I don't have any turkey breasts left. Right.
Right. Me either.
And I kind of was like, oh man, maybe you were a little too fast and loose with this. But then I thought about it. Like, I stayed at Hal Herring's house, right? I gave him one of the breasts, right? Yep. I stayed at my buddy Joe's house and turkey hunted out of his place for a few days, right? So I cooked one of the turkey breasts for him and his now fiance, and but dude, it was dope. I made like turkey schnitzel with like morels, and it was like a great, like, thanks a lot for hosting me meal. And then somebody, when I was at Jimmy in Lydia's house from Hunters of Color, man, it was Lydia's mom's birthday, so her family came, like her mom and her dad and her sister came over. So I like cooked one of the turkey breasts for her mom, right? And that's not just. It wasn't just for her mom. It was like just to show appreciation for like. I mean, dude, I stayed at their house for like a week. I lived in my van outside their house for like a week. I was like turkey hunting with Jimmy, and
they weren't down by the river, were they?
No, dude, they got a red house, man, right across the street from a rhododendron farm. Beautiful place, man. And then the first turkey I killed, there was this guy Richie that was hunting with us, and he was still trying to get his first one. And the way it worked out, me and him were next to each other with our bows. And these 2 turkeys came in, and they like got right past us. And then they figured out something was up, and they turned around to booger. And they didn't run, but they like kind of started hot stepping. And I think he just stutter stepped a minute, getting his bow back, and I drew back and I shot one, right? Like at 6 yards. And so I felt like, and I told him, I was like, hey man, thanks for letting me shoot that turkey. I had missed a turkey earlier, like, by rights, he could have been like, I'm shooting whatever. And so I gave him a turkey breast. So there was no one who got one that it wasn't calculated.
Right.
Really what it made me think was like, oh dude, I was so stoked about 6 and I wish I had gotten 10. Cause yeah, man, that you take that big hunk out, man, and it's nostalgic. Like when you're making the switch from like, commercial meat to eating wild game, there are adjustments that you have to make. You have to adjust your palate. You have to adjust your expectations, all of that stuff. Dude, a wild turkey breast, I mean, that's as taste-wise, that's as close to going to the grocery store as you're ever going to get, and it's just familiar and rad.
Yeah, it's I couldn't say it any better. And that's what makes it, like you mentioned, it being, it's just at the top, and even the legs and the thighs, they present a challenge at some point, to make. But they also, for me, when I'm making soups or when I'm at home and I'm cooking, like, they just add a different element. Just like a duck, man. You could slice off of the breast with the skin on and sear it like we did for breakfast and still have the stock pot going and stuff. Do the same thing with a turkey. Exactly the same thing. It's got dynamic cuts that need different treatments and different knowledge, and if you're gonna smoke a turkey breast, boy, you got to get that sucker right. You got to brine it right. You got to smoke it right.
Yeah.
You can realize. I've seen a lot of pictures online and eating some turkey breast. You're like, ugh. Like, it's not.
Yeah, I've messed. I wouldn't say it wasn't inedible. Like, I still ate the whole thing, but I was like, man, this could have been way better.
And that's like, once you hit that, I will say this, when you said earlier, we were talking about kind of somebody comes to your house, you have it dialed how to cook a duck up so they appreciate it if it's their first time or whatever. Come to my house, you want an elk steak, I get you. I'll take care of you. I've done it so many times now. It's like, I'm gonna reverse sear it. It's gonna be good. Just trust me. It's gonna look and taste good. I'm still not there with turkeys, man. Every once in a while, like you say, I hit the smoke wrong, or I just don't brine it long enough, or brine it at all, or I just I mess it up, or I pull the leg out too early and start to strip the meat out when it's still kind of hard, and the fork has to do most of the work. Like, that is, if I had perfected anything, is not turkeys, which I don't think is a bad thing. But
I mean, you got lots of living and lots of turkeys, and to figure it out.
One of these years I'm going to get 10. But then also, here's the other thing. I wonder what you think about this. When I started thinking about getting 10, it becomes a very personal endeavor then, right? I have a nonprofit that's about hunting mentorship. And I also say, if you're going to get 10 turkeys, it's a full-time job.
Yeah.
So I have a nonprofit that's about hunting mentorship. I have an eye on, to me, it's required reading, for lack of a better term, each year to understand, like, the broad sense of turkey populations, where they are, where they should be, where they are, where they aren't. And kind of just make sure I understand the overall health, not only everywhere I'm going to hunt, but just in general where turkeys are. I'm interested in it. It's something I'm very passionate about. So I think about that. So there's some competing interests within all the things I just mentioned. There's competing interests within wanting to share this with other people personally, take them and show them how to turkey hunt. But the full-time job, like, every time I do that, that's probably one less turkey I'm going to get for my 10.
Sure.
And then 10 turkeys, if every turkey hunter killed 10 turkeys, we'd be screwed.
Untenable, yeah.
It's an untenable thing. So I think like many of the more personal, like, pursuit-oriented goals within hunting, this one is the more I've done it, the more I'm like, ugh.
Well, what I'm thinking too is I'm not big on basing your success or your satisfaction on numbers.
Right.
I think that I think it can take you out of what you're doing a little bit. I think it can, and I'm not coming at you with this, but I'm just like, as I think, because that's something that hunter satisfaction with ducks is so tied to people getting limits, like, right?
Piles of them.
Yeah, man. Or just, man, if the limit, I saw this with speckle bellies, right? Limit was 3. And for 2 years, the last 2 years, they changed it to 2. And then now it's back to 3.
Yeah.
And I was on a hunt this year, and, man, it was great. It was a good shoot, man. We had a bunch of birds in there. And dude I was hunting with, man, he, like, just wanted to keep staying. And it was like that moment where because a big part of what I'm doing is managing the hunter's experience. So, I watch them, and when you start seeing somebody, it's 10:30, and you're just trying to stay out there, and you see someone's like leg just bouncing because they're cold and miserable. It's like, dude, it's not worth trying to eke out another bird. Like, let them get a cup of coffee, let them stay involved in this, right? And he wanted to stay out there, and I was like, dude. This would have been 9 limits last year. What we have in the blind last year would be 9 limits of specs. You would have been hooting and hollering, talking about like, what was everyone saying? Man, we got limits by 8:00.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, dude,
we got piles of geese in here.
Walk away from it, man. Let's get the hell out of here. Let's not blow up. Let's come back here and hunt this field tomorrow. Let's not just blow it out. But yeah. So I would say. Even on the road to 10, be a little careful with that so you don't feel disappointed or like you didn't do what you had set out to do.
Yeah. I'm still talking about the 10, but every year that goes by, I get less dedicated to it for all the reasons I said and the reason you just said, because it takes some of the joy out of it and the perspective and all that. And I tell myself, I'm doing it to feed my family. I want to make sure that we have turkey all year round. I want to make sure that at Christmas, I can pull out smoke a turkey breast and slice it up for sandwiches while my family's in town. But that's unfortunately for most people are going to kill. If they kill one turkey a year, that's a great damn year.
Yeah,
So, it's having those goals and getting to those next levels in hunting. All of them come with their own little trap doors and stuff you can fall through if you're not watching.
Well, and man, it's like. You don't actually have to have turkey year round. Like, there's something to like, man, I ran out of this. I used it up. I used it intentionally, but I used it up, and I'm thinking about it.
And I kill a lot of grouse. I kill some pheasants every year. There's plenty of ways to supplement.
There's analogs,
Yeah. So I get, and again, that's probably not worth beating this horse too much, but that's I think it's nicely analogous to. There are little tricks and trapdoors and ethical things that happen in each level of hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like stages of hunting. People have written out the stages, the trophy stage, the appreciation stage,
the tagging out
stage. Like people have expressed this in stages and really the way I look at that is as you experience something, you're moving up the ladder, up these levels to
and your goalposts change and all
goalposts change to a greater understanding of that. And that's what it's analogous of. Some people just want to hear a turkey gobble. Some people just want to fill a tag for the first time in a different state. Some people just want to find a community of people that'll go hunting with them and do things like that. So I'm sitting here talking about, I can get 10. Well, we live for ducks for sure, and for turkeys for sure. We live in the best of times.
Yeah,
the best of times. And you think about generationally, how many? If you're listening to this and you're 35 years old and your great grandfather was a duck or turkey hunter, like that's a special thing.
Shit, ducks, man, it was like 20-day season, 2 birds, or like the point system where if you killed a hen, you were done.
Yeah, and turkeys were being translocated into places in the 70s and 80s. The NWTF didn't start until the mid-70s. Like that, we are in a very special time for the resource, for the bird, for conservation, for the kind of the general knowledge of what this means. But also in practice, we are carrying a torch that hasn't been burning all that long.
Mm-hmm.
It just hasn't.
Yeah.
And so to be able to step back and appreciate that for a second, we do this turkey podcast called Roost, and we start off, and we do another elk podcast called Wallow, and we start off the discussions. They're like 8 episodes, little mini series, but we start each discussion with this kind of like reverence and conversation about what's it mean to be an elk hunter, what's it mean to be a turkey hunter, what's it mean to be a duck hunter. What's it mean for you as a person? What's it mean for you in terms of the lineage, the community, the conservation, the ecosystem? Like, what's it mean for your mental and physical health to be doing it? Because it's so important to have that context, man. To have this understanding.
It takes it out of And I get it, man, because I like didn't grow up hunting, and then like I had weird thoughts about it, and then like we talked about with like hunting bears or like a mountain lion or anything, but the frame of reference for it is excruciatingly important. It makes it's the difference between being like, you know, in my mind, like an admirable person in the pursuit, and you know, like a stinker, like
selfish.
We all know the stinkers.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I mean, like there should be something to strive to here, you know. And we've been telling stories about kind of I came from, like, my dad is an admirable person and an admirable hunter, but he, in his own admission, like hunting never got to him. He came up with it on his own. Yeah. It was never passed down to him. Yeah. And so what he passed down to me was a book was a book that just kind of had some scribbling in the pages. He didn't say, you know, when your grandfather taught me and his grandfather taught him, this is how we do it in this family. Mm-hmm. There's none of that. For him, it was like, wow, when I was a teenager, man, I really wanted to get outside, and I went and found some pheasants, found some squirrels, found some rabbits, eventually found some deer. Did that till I had little kids, and then I got away from it because I was pretty busy with my own business and little kids. And then when you got interested, I got back into it. And now here we are. And so for me, I think of that as like, it's pretty special to be helping write that book, man, and passing that down to my kids.
Yeah, man, it's a heady thing, dude.
It is, you know. So it's that context to me. Whenever I get to be complaining about my first world hunting problems, like I only got 8 turkeys, I can just take a step back. Like, man, if this ever goes away, and Lord, I hope it does not. If this well, I mean, we've seen in the southeast here, man, we've seen turkeys on decline.
Dude, but it's hard to kill a turkey in Arkansas.
Damn right. And so we see little blips on that radar of what would happen if it went away. You know, so you can check yourself, man. If I get going on the 10 turkey problem, every once in a while, you'd be like, shut up, dude.
Hey, man, in the words of Chuck D, you got to check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Don't wreck yourself. Always check yourself.
Man, I feel like that's a great place to put a button in it, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, hey, dude, on the real, man. Like, thanks a bunch for accepting the invitation and coming down. It's been a real pleasure, dude.
Thanks for having me, man. This is gonna give me some energy for a while. I think just meeting you and having these conversations and going duck hunting down here, and just like you said, it's not. I've been duck hunting in Arkansas a ton. Mm-hmm. More than any other place, but this shit's different to me, you know. Like it'll give me some energy. Like, yeah, your perspective, like you're a unique dude, man. So it'll give me a little bit like, let's go, man. I'm gonna match that energy in my own life. You know?
Shit, man. Well,
take that back.
High praise. Well, that sounds like we might be running into each other on Turkey Tour this spring. Woo!
It's basically already spring for me. I'm only doing this to bide my time for turkeys.
You're thinking about it, huh?
I started thinking about it like right after Christmas.
Yeah. No, dude, I honestly have not stopped thinking about it since last turkey season.
I got to make myself stop thinking about it or it gets weird. So my wife was like, why don't you just stop thinking about it in like July and then pick it back up again at Christmas? I was like, okay, that works.
Dude, I'm not going to stop. I mean, look,
I'm lying to myself. I think about it than me. I think about it all the time. I just like say this what I say.
Dude, when I drop my kid off at preschool, I rock a diaphragm call a lot of times for those little kids, and they love it. Yeah. I mean, they make the noise. And I go in there and I mean, shit, dude, even to the point her teacher had me come in and give like a presentation. And so, like, you know, I pulled out deer antlers, and then I like grunted, and I pulled out a turkey fan. And dude, my kid's teacher is real cool, Miss Haley. She's like exactly who you want teaching your kid. And so like I gave her one of my turkey fans for her science spot, you know, and I gave her an old pintail mount that I had. And dude, I thought about it. I was like, man, should I give her a turkey tail? And I was like, yeah, dude, she's right, man. She gets one. Cause those kids get to put their hands on it and see it. Right. And they know that they can like they'll call out animal noises. Like I'll roll in there and like wah, wah, I'll quack at them, or I'll like have a crow call or whatever, man. And I mean, they just think I'm a weirdo, right? But dude, I'm all about it, man, because one of those kids is going to get something out of it. I mean, shit, you know what I do a lot too? This is the last thing I say. I'll go in there and I'll flex on those teachers. So I took them a bunch of, last year they were all weirded out, like, what do you do? You know? And then I took them some goose jerky I made, and they've been asking for it since. So I took them a bunch of goose jerky this year. But I'll be like, hey, Hazel, what did you eat last night? And she'll be like, mountain lion. And I'm like, damn right you did. You know, like,
who else? Raise your hand if you ate
yeah,
mountain
do you eat some mountain lion? Do you have bear meatballs?
You, Johnny? You looking at me?
No, man.
I'm gonna eat you some bear meatballs. No. Yeah, that's a good idea, man. I gotta get a little closer to the teachers at my kid's school, and I'd probably same thing. Although in Montana, it's like kind of expected. If I brought elk jerky, they'd be like, yeah, what of it? Probably.
Dude, man, take him some of that.
Ooh, I'm gonna take him some speckled belly goose.
Yeah, dude. Dude, everybody likes a speckle belly.
The speckle belly's been another revelation up here, man. Because you don't. I'll leave this, but I'm going to disparage a bird before we go.
Oh man!
Because we've been talking about how reverent we are about birds. Here's a bird I'm going to disparage: the sandhill crane.
Oh yeah, you were saying you didn't think it was all it's cracked up to be.
Now, yeah, not that it's a bad bird or it doesn't taste all right, but it's not the ribeye of the sky. I think that's propaganda for sandhill crane, probably lobbyists. Something with big sandhill crane.
The big machine, man.
The big machine.
Well, I'll text you. I'll let you know because I'm going to be hunting them next weekend, man. So.
Yeah, you let me know. You send me a picture of what you're doing. You'll make it good and it'll taste good. But I just think about it versus a speckle belly is what I would like to say.
Shit,
nobody has ever said speckle belly's a ribeye of any sky that I've heard.
Oh, really? So that's what I've always heard is like.
Okay, it's good to know.
They all like folks always call specks ribeye of the sky and sandhills. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a speck down there and we're going to cook them side by side and see what we think. Yeah.
We did it. So we did that a couple weeks ago. We did it on the podcast. We did a goldeneye and a teal.
What'd you think?
A little taste test. I thought goldeneye was good. It had a little. I knew it right away because we didn't do it. We should have done a blind taste test because of the size. It was too easy to tell.
There's a little bit of minerality to it.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of that. It had a little like tinge aftertaste, like a little minerality, like a mineral aftertaste. But in terms of like, did I eat it and enjoy it? Absolutely. We were watching goldeneye fly by us, and people were like, I don't want to shoot that one. We're going to eat that. I was like, well, just shoot one. Let's see. Because I've never, never tried one. It was damn good. So I can leave everyone with this idea. I can't think of, not that there aren't any, but I can't think of any preconceived notions about wild game and their taste and the nature of how edible they are that somebody has presented me. They're like, antelope, they're no good. They're sagey. Or snow geese, you don't eat those. They're trash birds or whatever it might be. Any negative preconceived notion about wild game, every time I get it, I can disprove it easily.
Yeah, I would.
Can you ever think of a time where somebody's like, what's not good? Name an animal, and then you go and you prepare it properly, and it's not delicious, or it's not way.
You ever ate a merganser?
Nope.
Merganser's a deeply, deeply fishy tasting duck.
Yeah.
But you know what? And I'll give Hank Shaw a shout out on this too, man. I cooked a bunch of scoters.
Yeah,
in California last year, man, and that's like a sea duck,
right?
That's
a sea duck. You're not supposed to. That's like must make jerky out of those, or
dude,
your dog.
Hank said brine them for 12 hours.
Yeah.
So I brine them for 12 hours. I mean, if you go longer, they're so small. If you brine it, like this is just the skinned breast meat. So what you got to do is on birds like that, diver ducks, whatever, just like the fish eaters that are funky, you got to get all the fat off it. All that little bits of yellow fat, get that off.
Yeah.
Skin those birds and give them an 8 to 12 hour, just simple salt, water, a little bit of sugar brine, pat them dry, and then cook them. And I would say that, if you did it just like a mallard breast is an A, and that Scoter breast done like that was I'd call it a B minus.
Oh, it got in the B's. I was wondering.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, it ain't a mallard breast.
Grade, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying if somebody comes to you and goes, antelope. I'm not saying it's gonna. In the case of antelope, it is one of the best meats I've ever tasted. A lot of people think it's no good. Some people think it's no good. So I don't know. I would challenge the preconceived notion if somebody comes to you and be like, we don't eat that. But like, let's try to eat that. And let's just understand what's not good about it and mitigate that with their cooking method.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're going to have preferences, but dude, like I said, man, if you went out there and you took it away from what it was, you changed its form, you got to, man.
You got to. Shit.
You got to eat it. And look, man, like you said, jerky, brine and stuff. Look, a gumbo's a great way to make some stuff go down.
That gumbo we ate yesterday, that's a science, man.
Yeah, I like that man. That was a particularly good batch of gumbo. I
wish I could try. I will try it at home. I've never made a gumbo because it's just not the kind of thing they make where I'm from. Chili, I make the hell out of some chili.
Sure.
But I'm going to do it. I will commit to doing it. Not that you asked me to, but I will commit to doing it, and I'll see how it goes. I once sat in a duck blind with, this is going to be a horrible name drop, but oh well, with Phil Robertson.
Oh, yeah.
And I asked him, what's your favorite way to cook up ducks? And he took about 45 minutes to tell me how to do gumbo.
Yeah.
And right at the end of his recipe, he told me he hit the call and a duck comes dropping in right in front of us in the decoys, and I shot a single mallard. And that was like pretty much the end of his recipe, and that was it. And then we got the duck and we left.
That was a punctuation mark?
Yeah, dude, it was great.
Dude, if you're going to hunt with that guy and talk about gumbo, what a great story, man.
He was like, simmer the rice, then you simmer the okra. It's like, and then, but wait. I will not try to do his accent, but it was pretty spectacular because I'm a fanboy from way back when they were on VHS, when they were the duck men.
Yeah, flipping deer in the decoys.
Yeah.
Well, man, that's a good full circle duck convo.
All the way.
Yeah, man. So, dude, I hope to hang out and hunt again sometime. And again, dude, thanks a ton for coming down, bud.
Yeah, man, it's been awesome, man. It's some special stuff.
And just for my listeners, Ben O'Brien can be found where and
you can find me on Instagram at BennyOB301. The Woodside with Ben O'Brien's the podcast. Woodside Media Network is the network where you can find all the other shows we were talking about, the Turkey Show and the Elk Show. We have a show called Hunter and Vegan that I did with a vegan.
Yeah.
All that stuff, man, and a lot of video stuff coming this year too. So gonna keep cranking on it.
Right on, man. Yeah, check all that stuff out if you like going down these rabbit holes, because shit, man, you probably got more exploratory, the why behind hunting podcast conversations than anybody on planet Earth. So.
I would probably be close to that. It's been an education, that's for sure.
Right on. Well, thanks a bunch, and folks, thanks for listening. Until next time.
See ya.
Hey, thanks a bunch, everybody. I really appreciate you listening all the way through to this episode of the Black Duck Revival podcast. As always, produced by me, Jonathan Wilkins, and my main man, Brian Dizzle Sachs. Keep up with me on the website. That's blackduckrevival.com. That's for recipes, videos, articles. Take a look at what hunting opportunities we have available. This next year is going to be cool, man. We're going to do stuff in some different states. We're going to chase different species than we normally have. Lots of cool stuff to come, and hopefully have that all have a lot of that figured out and up on the website here in the coming months. So pay attention to that. If you want to be the first to know, you can always get on the email list. And you can do that just by going to the Experiences tab at the website and signing up to be on that email list. You'll find out about cool stuff that we're doing and hunts and all that jazz. ahead of everybody else. You can also follow me on Instagram. That handle is just Black Duck Revival. That's kind of more in the now happenings, and especially as we move into the spring with Turkey Tour and the like, there'll be a lot more information and just cool stuff that we're sharing there. And please, if you guys enjoy this podcast, help make it bigger, help more people listen to it, and that just, the more people that listen to it, like the more opportunities I've got to talk to cool people, harder to find people, and work with different brands and keep this whole thing sustainable. Easiest way to do that is just to leave a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. You can even take a few minutes and write a written review. That's incredibly helpful for the algorithm. Or just tell your friends and people you know that this is a podcast that's worth listening to. I know everybody doesn't listen to podcasts all the time, but if you know someone's going on a road trip for spring break or something, say, hey man, I got one that I like to listen to. Here's a specific episode. And you never know what that can turn into. So, thanks for listening. Until next time.